Hey, hey, happy Wednesday. It's time for another What's She Making Wednesday. Who is excited to be here? We are making a fun card today. It is a punch card, and you can see it opens up like that. So we're using designer series paper and lots of die cutting today. So our stamp set that we're going to feature is the Lovliest Trees stamp set. I love this one. It's so lovely. It's got great sentiments, right? For all occasions. Congratulations, happy birthday, thank you, and sympathy. I love the tree. It looks beautiful embossed, and you can do so many things with this. And then the dies that go with it, of course, this one will cut out the tree, and this one will cut out these leaves. But then there are these standalone dies, and that's what we're going to use today. We're going to focus on that, and we're going to do happy birthday with the sentiment. And then we're also going to be using our deckled rectangle dies. Now, to me, these are like a must-have for everybody because they're so versatile, right? Like, they don't go with anything, they go with everything. And so I love, love, love these. And so we'll be using those as well. Okay, and then the paper that we're using is the Countryside in paper. This comes in 12 by 12. You can see a lot of the different prints here. We have had this one for a bit, and I'm so glad that it carried over because I love it, and it goes with lots and lots and lots of things. So that's what we're going to use today. And you will see the reason that I picked the paper that we did is because in these Lovliest Tree dies, we have these standalone dies. So there is this die here, which is the top of the trees. And then there is the tree branches and, not stump, but you know, the tree trunk. And so when you put those together, what I think it makes is the trees in this print that's in that Countryside in paper. Like, don't those go so well together? I think they do. So that's what we're going to use today. So I'm going to go ahead and clear some of this out of the way. I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer first, and we're going to open this up. So I love our paper trimmer. I have used so many different ones over the years, but I love this one because it's compact. I love that it opens up, so it's not like giant, it takes up a lot of room, but you still get to use all of the features of it, right? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this down. And so remember, if you want today's card measurements, just like every week, you can always find them on my blog at stampinqueenbee.com. Or you can find them in your emails. Every week I send out a weekly buzz bulletin that includes a free PDF tutorial of the week's project. Sometimes I include the previous week as well. And you'll see the video and the printable PDF tutorial. So if you haven't subscribed to that and you want to, you can find the details in the description of the video. You can subscribe on stampinqueenbee.com or click in the description. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and fold this on that score line. And so now we've created kind of part of our card here. So we want to make sure that the print that is the side that we want showing in the front, the directional way that we want it, right? So like these trees are upside down, so we wouldn't want it to open that way, right? So we want those facing up. We're also going to use the Heartfelt Hexagon punch. And so this is so fun. So you'll notice in the opening here, I'm calling it a punch card, but you'll notice there's an opening here. But we can't very well put our punch in just half of this, right? Like it would look funny and it wouldn't even be centered and it wouldn't be the direction that we want it, right? So how we're gonna do this is we're gonna take our designer paper here. We're going to line up our punch, kind of center it there as best you can. And we're just gonna punch through both of those layers, just like so. And then these are great because now we can use these on another project, right? So that's fun for next time. Then I've already got our card backing. So this is just a single piece backing. And so we're gonna close this up. We're gonna bring in some of our liquid glue here. And on the side that we want down, right? Like the upside down trees in this case, we're gonna go ahead and add some of our liquid adhesive here. And then we are going to just center this right on our card back base. Okay, so it's already beautiful like that. I mean, if this was a white background, you could just leave it as is, right? But we want to cover up this punched area. So that's where our deckled rectangle comes in here. So I've already pre-die cut this. This is actually the second from the largest of those deckled rectangles that I already die cut for us. And so we're gonna now take this with our liquid glue and we're just gonna go ahead and center this right on the inside of our card. Just like so. Easy peasy so far, right? So they can't even tell, right, that there was a punch through that, and now our beautiful white shows through, but we still have our Night of Navy backing, right? So easy peasy so far. Okay, so now we're gonna bring in our Happy Birthday from that Loveliest Trees stamp set. I've got some Night of Navy ink here. So we're just gonna pop that open, ink this up, and we're just going to center this right in the middle of our punch out here. Easy peasy so far, right? Okay, so now it's time to do some die cutting and putting together some of our trees. So you can see I've already pre-die cut these for us. So we've got some leaves and treetops out of Night of Navy. We've got some leaves and tree trunks out of Balmy Blue, and then some out of our basic white. So we have all of those ready to go. So I'm gonna bring in my silicone mat. If you don't have these, such an inexpensive investment, and I love it. I'm also gonna bring in a sponge dauber. And so these come in packs of 5, but I label one of mine for glue. So I use this sponge dauber specifically only for glue. And then I just put a little bit of glue, liquid glue here in the corner of my silicone mat. And then we're gonna build some of these trees. So of course you could run these through with some adhesive sheet backing, which will make them into like stickers, right? It'll put it on there and die cut it with it. But sometimes you don't want the whole thing in adhesive like today. So we only need adhesive here on the back of where the branches are. So I'm just gonna dip my sponge dauber here into some of that glue. We're just gonna sponge right in those branches, which is where I want that glue. We're gonna take that and we're just gonna go ahead and adhere it right to the tree top there. Easy peasy, right? So I don't really want glue or adhesive on the back of the whole thing, which is why I did not do the adhesive sheets. And that's why I would use the sponge dauber with glue and the liquid glue. So we're gonna do one more here. So we've got our tree top. This time we're gonna do Balmy Blue. And again, I'll just go ahead and sponge job the back of the branches. And I just use the same one over and over and over again. I keep it in its own little container so it doesn't stick to anything. But then I can always use it with my silicone mat. And there we go, we just put that right on. And then usually what I'll do is I'll just leave them on the silicone mat to dry. They won't stick to it, which is what I like, and then they're ready to go. So I've already done a couple ahead of time, so these are dry, so we'll use these ones for today. And what's so cool about our silicone mat here is you'll notice like the glue gets on there, right? Well, when it dries, all you have to do is kind of rub it, just like so, and the little glue bits come off so easy. So as soon as it's dry, that's when it comes off the easiest. And kind of reminds you of, you know, when you were in school, sometimes you put glue on the back of your hands, then you peeled it off, right? It's kind of that same effect. But I like that it just comes clean super easy. So that is my little silicone mat tip for you today. So we're also gonna need a Night of Navy and a Balmy Blue leaf. So we'll pull those to the side here. And we are gonna actually stick these. I put away my silicone mat too soon because we're gonna need to do that on the back of our leaves here for the inside of our card. So we're just gonna go ahead and put one of the Night of Navy leaves and then the same thing with our Balmy Blue leaf. And you can kind of overlap them. And that just gives a little bit of detail to the inside of our card. And when it's closed, they'll look just like so, right? Okay, now we're done with our silicone mat. And we're gonna go ahead and close up our card. And we've got our two trees here. And so we're gonna first start with our darker one, our Balmy Blue. And for this, I'm gonna be using the foam adhesive strips. So you can see, let me pull one off here. You can see they look like about like this. They actually come in 12 inches and you can chop them down with your adhesive scissors. And so I've already done that with these. So these are the size that I want, right? They are the size of our tree trunk here. So I am just gonna stick that right on. So you can see it's actually the width of this tree trunk, so you can't even see it once it's on the back, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that on, take off the backing of that, and we're just gonna go ahead and adhere that right to the front of our card there. And then we're gonna do the same thing with our white one here. And peel the backing right off. These are great for shaker cards, but they're also great for skinny things like these tree trunks. And then I'm just gonna put this one a little bit lower so they're kind of staggered here. And we've got that right on there. And then you can even take a little tiny bit or a dimensional. I like these because they're a little bit thinner for this, but where the trees overlap, so you can't see it, it's disguised, right? I'm gonna put one more, and that's gonna kind of hold them in place. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're gonna bring in some linen thread. That's what we did our bow, so we're gonna double it over here, just like so. And then we're gonna tie a shoestring bow, just like we're tying our laces, right? But we're doing two at a time since it's doubled up, just to make it a little bit more sturdy of a bow. And we're just gonna go ahead and adjust these loops how we want them. Sometimes I kind of pull on them a little bit so they going in the direction, right, that I want. And then we're gonna bring in the scissors that we use for ribbon. We're gonna snip that side and these two so they are the same. There we have our bow. our doubled bow. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring in a mini glue dot. So these come on a roll. I love them for ribbon. I'm using my take your pick tool here just to pick up. I know you can't always really see that because it's clear, but I pick up the little mini glue dot. I'm gonna put it on the back of my double linen thread here, and sometimes you're gonna have to fold it just a tad so that you don't see it. And then we're just gonna set this almost to the top of where our cutout is. And then if you feel like these are a bit too long, at this point we can go ahead and trim them up a little bit so that they're even. And then now all we have to do is finish it with some bling. So I am gonna use the new opal rounds. So I love that we have a navy, finally, right? A navy embellishment. So I love these. And so you'll notice what I did, since this is, you know, we don't always normally put embellishments on the inside, right? But since this is popping through, it's not actually going to stick up any more in our envelope or anything. So we can actually stick them there so that they're on the inside, but they're also showing on the outside. And so that's what I did here. So I just took 2 of these smaller ones and kind of put them there, and 1 of these bigger ones and kind of set it there. So those are our opal rounds. There's the Night of Navy and the clear. And let's see, what is the other one? And Daffodil Delight. So it almost takes on like a gold, right? So it's a beautiful, beautiful combination for our embellishments. And there you have our fun punch card. Great way to use some designer series paper. You don't always have to stamp, right? You can just use your die cutting to create those images, and always be looking at your papers and what die cuts go with the different patterns in our designer series paper, right? So I hope you love today's card. You could use any punch. So this is our heartfelt hexagon punch, but you could absolutely use a tag punch or the new label punch, all kinds of different options for this, right? And I love that you get to see both sides of the designer paper, because don't you just hate when you love both sides and you're like, oh, I don't want to cover one up, right? So this one really will showcase both sides of our beautiful designer series patterned paper. Happy Wednesday, everybody, and I'll see you next week for another What's She Making Wednesday.